What happens in this case? Do you exit or do you not exit? And the answer is it depends. It depends on what? Well, it depends on whether it's the short term, or short run, or it's the short run or the long run. In the short run, you cannot change your fixed cost. So you stay in the market as long as what? As long as the price you're setting is greater than your average and variable cost. So, and over here we can clearly see that it doesn't always happen this way, but just, it happens to me that the average variable cost is also around this place, $6. So every unit you sell, you make a $2 margin. You make a $2 margin. Therefore, you want to produce because every $2 margin that you make goes into paying for your fixed cost. But in the long run, you can just shut down altogether and get rid of all your fixed costs. And in this case, you just exit. Why? Because the price you can charge at $8 is less than your average total cost. In the long run, you quit. So in what circumstances will you quit in the short run? More like a recap. You quit in the short run very quickly, then so in this case, if this is the average variable cost, and this is the average total cost, and you see at this point, you're maximizing times C and R. At this point, the price you're setting is lower than both your average variable cost and your average total cost. In this case, you shut down even in the short run. Why? Because every unit you sell, it costs you to make that unit, say, $6, but you can only charge the price of $5. So why would you even produce anything? So here's some new concept that you were introduced to, specifically for monopolistic market, and that's called the idea of excess capacity and markup. So, quick question. What the hell happened? In the long run, can a firm in a monopolistic competitive market make economic profit in the long run? Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on, raise your hand. Who thinks no? Raise your hand. Come on, you guys. Okay. At least raise your hand. Don't be shy, even if you're wrong. But in the long run, because of entry, remember the key is entry. Because other firms can come in the long run, monopolistic competitive firms will not make economic profits. So what do I mean by that? Okay, simply, let's take a look at a case where here is ABC, here's one revenue. So in this case, the price that you set is 9, but it costs you on average $6 to produce. They have $3 of profit. So in this case, yes, the firm is making profit in the short run. So what happens in the long run? Well, firms enter the market, and when they do that, what happens is demand curve? It shifts down. So the demand curve shifts down as more firms enter, and it continues to shift down until it becomes tangent to ADC, and this is a really important point. In the long run, the demand will actually just be tangent to ADC, so that when you maximize your profit, R equals MC, when you maximize your profit, the price that you charge equals the average total cost. So in the long run, you make zero economic profit. So let's take a look at this example. So what do I mean when we discuss about like access capacity? So the term is basically defined as the difference between your actual output and the output where your average total cost is lowest. So we can see that the average total cost is at a minimum at this point. So we call this the efficient capacity. Oh, sorry, efficient scale. Efficient scale. And this is the quantity that we're selling at. So the difference over here is called access capacity. That's basically what it is. What about markup? Well, markup is basically the difference between the price and the marginal cost. Remember, we're producing at this Q units, and the marginal cost of producing one more unit is only at 4, but the price you charge is at 9. So the markup is 5. This is the markup. So you guys get the idea is really simple. Just two subtractions. Basically, you take the price minus your marginal cost, and the quantity you're producing at, that gives you the markup. So I've been putting all of that on the slide if you download them. So what about efficiency? So even in the long run, remember in the long run the ADC is hanging in the demand curve, and it's R. So this is the quantity that you're producing to maximize profit, and this is price is set even though in this case the profit is 0. When you maximize the profit, your profit is 0. So what about efficiency? Remember, efficiency happens when the marginal cost equals your marginal social benefit, which is also the demand curve. So the efficient quantity is actually over here. Where the MC crosses demand, that gives you the efficient quantity, and the price gives you the efficient time. So that's how the price is set. So obviously, because of this, we intuitively know that there's going to be delivery loss. And the delivery loss is going to be this area over here, that we are. And consumer surplus is going to be over here. Producer surplus is in the entire region over here. So yes, the idea is in a monopolistic competitive market, even in the long run, when all the firms that come in, we're still going to have delivery loss. So remember, the only situation where there's no delivery loss and the market is perfect, actually two. The only two situations. One is perfectly competitive, and two is what? Yeah, that's two. Perfect price discrimination. There you go. Oh, question. Yes. So the non-closed competition looks like monopoly. Yes. Almost exactly like monopoly. There's no difference. Except, remember when we talk about monopoly, there's no entrance, and therefore the demand is always going to be there. Doesn't matter, how long it is. But for monopolistic competitive market, remember, because firms can enter, they take away from your consumer base, and demand curve shifts down. So in the long run, your demand curve actually become more and more elastic when it goes down. But there's something that's very important to our lives that we cannot really express in numbers or on the graph, and that's something called variety. And the reason why we like monopolistic competitive situations, we like when it's Apple, while it's also going to be Android instead of everyone owning Apple, is because a variety. We like having different stuff. So in a perfectly competitive market, remember every product is the same. We're talking about like rice. So one grade of rice is no different than the other. But we don't want that to happen with our clothes. We don't want that to happen with our cell phones. So even though there's definitely loss, but as consumers we benefit from something called variety, and that gives us a social benefit. The problem with that is we cannot really, draw where the benefit from variety is from the graph. But you have to keep that in mind when you're doing questions and your especially the short answer questions. And again, as with everything, variety is costly. Why is that? Because the more variety you have, the more the market becomes, monopolistically competitive, and the greater the debt weight loss. So with variety comes with debt weight loss, but we still like variety. That's why we have a strike balance. Okay, so that covers the discussion with monopolistic competitive market. Now we're going to go into our last lecture topic, which is oligopoly. This, personally, I think is the most interesting part of my course in ECON 101, is because we get to talk about things like games. How cool is that? But before we talk about games, let's just refresh a little bit on what oligopoly is. Oligopoly is when it is a market, and there is barrier to entry. So the number of firms in the market is fixed. There's only 3. And actually, I have a whole list of those that you can take a look at. Like Telus versus Roger versus Bell. They're the oligopoly in telecom in Canada. So in case you don't know, Telus owns Kudo, and Rogers owns Fido, and Bell owns Telebac, which is in Quebec. So you see tons of brands, but you have to realize that it's actually an oligopoly because all the brands are owned by the same company. That's something they're trying to get at you by creating more brands and make you think you have variety when there really isn't. So let's use some of these examples and discuss substitutes. So Duracell and Energizer, the 2 batteries, well, they're substitutes for each other. So in an oligopolistic market, there's still going to be substitutes because the different firms in the market produce similarly and equivalent products. But what about barrier to entry? A better example like Boeing versus Airbus. So those are the firms that create aircrafts. 747, the Boeing 47, those huge ass things. It's very difficult for a firm to acquire all the capital, to start a factory, and compete with these 2 firms. So that's why basically for passenger gas, you have to go to either Boeing or Airbus. There's no other firm can get into it because of how costly to get set up in that market. So because we have different firms, the firms have great positions, and the decisions of one firm affects the other. So we have to keep in mind, So if if Boeing prices their airplanes at $1,000 million, it doesn't make sense. So $1 billion, and then Airbus look at that and say, okay, if I charge more, people will buy from Boeing. If I charge less, I might be losing profit. So we have a dynamics there that's not present in either monopoly because there isn't 2 firms, and nor in nor in pure competition because then everybody charges the same price no matter what. So when firms decide on their own what price will they set, and the key thing to remember is they will not set a price they will not set as high as a monopoly, but it will not set as low as perfectly competitive markets. The reason behind this is not discussed in your course, but because you have to go in commerce, you end up taking 295, and that's when you learn why. They will charge a price somewhere in the middle in an oligopoly. And so let's take a look. So for example, we have the market demand for airplanes, and we have 2 firms. That's for Boeing. That's for Airbus, and we're looking at average total cost per turn. So in this case, again, yeah, go with those. Oh, sorry. Anyways, so again, there's two various entries. There's two different types. So in this case, we're basically talking about a natural oligopoly. And why is that? Because if you fit, because the efficient scales of these two firms added together gives you the entire, like, it satisfies the entire demand. So if you try to fit another firm in there, then it doesn't make sense. So this market is only big enough for two oligopolies. And again, this is for a natural duopoly in this situation. And the way you can tell is basically by putting, the average total cost here, and another average total cost here, and if this point ends up with a demand curve already, then you know there's no room for a third. The MC, so the MC curves. And so now we run into a concept called cartel. And what is a cartel? Cartel is basically groups of firms in an oligopoly come together and decide on the same price and the same, or a fixed price and a fixed output. And they want to do so because when they cooperate, when they do not compete with each other, they can set the price at the monopoly price, and everyone makes more profit. And that's the whole idea, the whole, the motivation behind cartels. But what's the problem with that is, so suppose these two firms, the two duopolies agree to become a monopoly. So what they're going to do is they're going to take a look there, they take the two marginal cost curves and basically combine them to create a new marginal cost curve. The new marginal cost curve for the monopoly, the imaginary monopoly, and they look at where that marginal cost curve crosses with the marginal revenue, which is the below the market demand and the final market revenue, and then they set a price over here. Say that's and then they take a look. So this quantity is 10. So now we split. So between you and me, you're Boeing and Airbus. I produce 5 planes. You produce 5 planes. Together we produce 10, and quantities of 10. The market wants $100 per airplane. So we're basically together. We're at like a monopoly. Okay. Now this is where the problem comes in. It's cool, and so because now we're agreeing on the price, but Boeing takes a look at this and say, if we produce 1 point, so if we produce 6, and your Airbus and you're still producing 5, so together it's 11. So the price has to drop a little bit, but then I'm selling more myself, and therefore I make bigger profit. So as Airbus, if it produces more than the greater point in production, then it's basically cheating and taking profit away from the competitors. That's why cartels tend to fall apart. That's the reason why. So when we discuss this game systematically, we then introduce the idea of games in the discussion. So some common terminologies you will see, you don't actually have to memorize them, but rules, you know what rules is. The important one is strategy. Strategy is the course of action to take. And usually you take this, so if your competitor chooses $10, your bad strategy is in response to that is what? So that's what we call strategy. And payoffs are the consequence of your actions. And outcome is basically, what happens at the end, that's the outcome. So here we go. So we're talking about action equilibrium here. And let's just say that's 5, that's 5, that's from B. And so that's low price, high price, high price. So in this case, I just make up this example on the fly. But how do we determine the action equilibrium in this case? Well, we take any firm, we can start with any firm. We start with firm B. So if firm A chooses to set a high price, what do I want to do? Well, I want to choose between 2 and 10. So I want to choose 10, so I pick this one. If my rival chooses a low price, if I choose a low price, I get 5. If I choose a high price, I get 8. So I like high price. The same for your other the rival. That rival takes a look at so if you charge low price, they want to choose between 8 or 5, they choose 8. If the high price, they choose between high price and 10, or low price and 2, they choose 10. So we come to this point where both firms' dominant strategy is high price, and this is the Nash equilibrium. So a key term here is dominant strategy. What is dominant strategy? It basically means if your strategy doesn't change in response to what your competitor is doing, then you have a permanent strategy, dominant strategy. So it doesn't matter where A is low or high, B is always choosing high. So B's dominant strategy is high. So the same goes the other way. So let's give you another example. So in this case, let's just try that exercise again. Very quickly, so low, high, low, high. So B picks high. If B picks high, then what's firm A's bad strategy? High or low? Okay. So since B picks low, wait, yeah, circle longest. Sorry about that, circle longest. So when B chooses high, you choose high. When B chooses low, you choose low. And the same goes for B. Look at their perspective. If A charges low, they choose low. If A charges high, it's where they choose high. So what about this case? What's the Nash equilibrium? What do you guys think? Exactly. So the thing about Nash equilibrium is it's not necessarily the best outcome for both. It doesn't mean that there's only one. Nash equilibrium just means it's stable. And if you ever get a question on why is Nash equilibrium, Well, there's a way to go about that is to say, okay, so given that my opponent, which is me, is picking high, if I choose something else, if I move away from high and move to low, I lose money, so I don't want to do it. Again, from E's perspective, my opponent chooses high, given that, if I move away from high, move to low, I lose money, so I don't want to do that. So that's the thing. So neither firm wants to move away from the current position, that's called Nash equilibrium. And you can do it with this case here, you can also do it with this case here. Because we're moving away from natural equilibrium, we're losing money, so neither firm wants to move. So both are natural equilibrium. That's the key to remember. Does that make sense to you guys? Like why they can be tuned? Okay. Talk about dominant strategy. Yeah, dominant strategy natural equilibrium is basically the case over here when. Okay. But yeah, here, this case. It's dominant strategy Nash equilibrium because both firms have dominant strategy and they end up with a Nash equilibrium there. So that's the definition of it. Prisoner's dilemma is a special case of dominant strategy Nash equilibrium where the outcome is not as good as if they have done otherwise. In this case, it's not prisoner's dilemma because even though it's dominant strategy Nash equilibrium, the outcome is actually great. 10-10 is better than any other outcome. So this is not a prisoner's dilemma. So other classic games, game of chicken, that is ship of golf. Okay. Sorry. How do you know that? Anyway. So this is game of chicken. Basically, the key points to remember about game of chicken is that the Nash equilibriums, there are two. The two Nash equilibriums, and what you realize about these two Nash equilibriums, the one firm will get a lot of penny payoff at the expense of the other firm. So so in this case, it will usually be something like quantity. So firm A chooses high quantity, and firm B chooses low quantity, then firm A earns more than firm B. But given that firm A chooses a high quantity, firm B doesn't want to produce a high quantity because then it would gain 0 instead of 1. Too much stock in the market, the price drops and then it makes 0. So in this case, the stronger guy ends up being the one getting the greater payoff, and the weaker guy ends up taking the smaller payoff. Eventually, which one of these will happen, even though both are actually equilibrium, that depends on other factors. And one of the factors that we're going to discuss right now is called sequential games. So up to this point, we've only been talking about games in which the two players can make a decision at the same time. But interestingly, if we take a look at this example, and we if we take a look at this example, and we take it and we set the rules differently. So one firm can go before the other firm. Now we run something called decision tree, or sort of. And firm A, firm B. So say firm A gets to go first. And firm A can either charge a high price or low price. And in response to that, firm B goes second, and they can choose high price, low price, high price, low price. And then now we talk about payoffs here. So suppose this is the payoff for A, this is the payoff for B. So what's this one? When firm A charges high, firm B charges high. What is the payoff for A? Any numbers? 0. Okay. Firm B also 0. When they both charge low price, both gets 5. When firm A charges high and firm B charges low, we get 10, 5, 5, 10. So this is what we call a sequential game. So when one firm makes a move before the other firm, even though the payoff ratio is exactly the same, the game turns out completely differently. Why? Okay. What's firm A's decision going to be? Firm A is going to look at firm B, and it's going to realize that in this scenario, sorry, I can't see this, but in this scenario over here, firm B would not choose low price. Firm B would not choose low quantity because low quantity gives 5, high quantity gives 10. So firm B will not choose low. And in this scenario, firm B will not choose high. They will choose low because low gives 5 instead of 0. And now given these two choices as left, firm A is going to look. Okay, so if I go high, firm B is going to go low, and I earn 10. If I go low, firm B is going to go high, I earn 5. I prefer 10. So in Nash equilibrium, in this case, because it's a repeated game, there's only one. And this is when firm A charges high, firm B charges low. If you take a look at this fact as here, it's exactly the same as this coordinate over here. And the only difference between the game that I just showed you and the previous game is because firm A has an advantage. It's a stronger company in the sense that it gets to move first, and therefore the Nash equilibrium ends up in their favor, which is not earning 10, and the opponent earning 1. That's 1. Sorry, opponent earning 1. Does that make sense? Yeah. So okay, the last few bits basically just gonna run over with you. Repeated game. So basically, we take a look at this game, and we ask in a static game when both firms make simultaneous moves, and we ask, well, what's going to happen if we repeat the same game over and over and over again? Remember in Prisoner's Dilemma, when cooperation is better for both firms, so if you get to play indefinitely, then it's to the benefit of both firms to cooperate and make sure that they get a higher outcomes indefinitely forever. So you can use something like a trigger strategy. Basically means if you cheat on me, I'm not going to play fair with you ever after. So that's the punishment. Or they go tip for tat. So basically, if you cheat me once, I cheat you next time. And it works out because then it's not beneficial to cheat anymore because you can get cheated back. Therefore, if you get punished and then you get to play the game over and over again, we could achieve cooperation even though the prisoner did not meet him. Okay. These are not really important. Okay, so punishment strategy. Okay, so this is incredibly thing, but I actually went over that already. Okay, the very last bit about oligopoly. I'm not sure if you actually need to be tested. You might, so just stay with me for a second. Regulations and oligopoly. So remember when we talked about how monopoly is not efficient, governments hate it. So the government set rules to prevent monopolies from forming. And one of the ways to do it is called anti-commodity, basically preventing firms in oligopoly markets to join, merge, and become basically a monopoly. So in the past, RBC and TD tried to merge, the government blocked it because they see that it's going to, create basically a monopoly, and that hurts consumers, hurts Canadians because they're going to charge the price too high and create a loss. Other include price discrimination is sometimes illegal. So okay, that's a really cool point. So why do you guys think price discrimination might be illegal? It is that the monopoly want to price discriminate and that helps. Okay, so in situations where you are, say, you produce cars and you try to sell to a dealership, and you price discriminate so that you favor one dealership over all other dealerships. So what's going to happen is that one dealership that you favor is going to have an advantage over all the other dealerships. And that dealership is going to drive the others out of the market. So basically, you're helping somebody else create a monopoly. That's why in a B2B market, a business-to-business market, sometimes price discrimination is not allowed. Again, to prevent the market from becoming a monopoly, cartels are blocked. So you're not allowed to discuss price with your competitors. If the chief of McDonald's sits down with the chief of KFC and discuss over lunch about pricing, that's going to be a huge scandal. So, yeah, the two, anti-combined law as well as antitrust. Antitrust is basically anti-oligopoly. That's where the word comes from, in case you're wondering. Because in the old days, trust means oligopoly. Or trust means a cartel in an oligopoly. Okay, so I think that's the last slide. Okay, so basically that's all the lecture material. If you want to stick around, I can go over past exam materials for content before midterm. Do you guys want to do that? Because this runs for 2 hours, and I don't know how long you guys want to stay. You guys want to perfectly go. You want to go over some of those old questions? Okay, let's do it.
I'd love to. We have about we have room till 5, so.
Okay, so let's try this one. Now, you have listen to me talk for like, I don't know, an hour and a half, so use your brain for now. A firm who wants to increase the scale is what? This is actually a little bit hard, but just so you know, these are past exam questions, you might get them. What is it? The answer is when the firm is persistently producing in the upward sloping part of its short-rank cost curve. Okay. So the answer is A, and here's why. So remember when we talked about short-rank cost curves and long-rank cost curves. So short-rank cost curves look like this. When you cannot change your plant, you can only change your labor and you get a curve. But when you switch to a different plant, a larger plant, then we move from one to the other, and then all the way upwards. So if you're persistently producing at upward sloping part of your short-run cost curve, so the short-run cost is the long-run cost basically consists of this, the lowest bit of the short-run cost curve. Does you remember that? Okay. So if you could persistent producing over here, what's signaling to you is that I can increase the plant and then my cost will drop. With the same quantity, my cost will drop from 10 to 6. So that's why the answer is A. You're producing in the upper sloping part. On the other hand, if you're producing persistently in the downward sloping part, well, what that's signaling to you is you want to reduce the size of your plant. So from a bigger plant where you have 10 machines, you're going back to a plant with only 9 machines, but your cost goes down. So the opposite also makes sense. But in this case, the answer is A. That makes sense to you guys? Okay. Next one. Oh, yeah, this one's really easy. This is almost like definition question. So long run average cost curve is the relationship between the lowest attainable average total cost curve and output when the plant size is what? Only 2 choices. How constant or varied? Varies, great. And labor is what? How constant or varied? Varied, exactly. Okay, so the long run average cost curve is made up of that individual average what cost curve? Total, okay. With the lowest average total. So that's pretty simple. This one, again, the curve that represents the plant using the largest amount of capital is what? Which firm tends to be using the most plant? Okay. Yeah, that's good. Because it is deep. Remember, having more plants means that with the same amount of labor, you get to produce more. So in this case, yes, it's deep. A follow-up question with that. Well, what is a fundamental technology fact that's reflected in the shape of these curves? What do you guys think? Come on. See? Yep, let's see. So price of input has nothing to do with it. We're not discussing price, we're not discussing cost. B is not revenue, there's also to do with price. There's no such thing as law of economy of scale, so it's just going to throw you off. E is, yeah, E is just plain wrong. Oh, this is interesting. For perfect competition to arise, it is necessary for market demand to be what? What says E? E is actually not right. Oh, sorry, D is right. D is right. C is wrong. E is wrong. Oh yeah. Sorry, I read the alphabet wrong. Okay, so when again, remember the discussion with the monopoly. So when it has like minimum efficiency scale is incredibly large, like over here at 1 million units, 100 million units, and this is the demand, then this is a natural monopoly. But when the individual firms have minimum efficiency scales that's very small, you get to stack a lot of them in the market, and that's why we get perfect competition. Okay, this one's better. When the number of knitting machines as well as the number of workers increase from 2 to 3, what are some of the what is the one thing that's right on this? It's actually really hard. So remember, in this case, we're basically talking about scales here. Economies of scale. Is it increasing or decreasing? So how do you even start? So well, there are only 2 situations that's being discussed. Is when knitting machine equals 2 and labor equals 2, scenario 1, or knitting machine equals 3, labor equals 3, scenario 2. And we look at the chart, and so plant size of the knitting machine, and we can tell that in scenario 1, when the 2 of each, our output is what? What's our output? Come on. The number. What's the output? When 16, exactly. That makes sense to you guys? Just look in the horizontal and the vertical when they intersect 16, right? So when there's 3 of each, what about our output? 23. Okay. Now, remember, economies of scale, increasing, decreasing. When you double or multiply your input by a number, whether it's 2, 3, or 4, if your output increases by the same multiple, then what you have is something called constant return to scale. So if your input is output, your input increases by 3 times, your output increases by 3 times, and that's constant return to scale. If your input increases by 3 times, but your output increases by only 2 times, what is that? That's decreasing return to scale. That make sense? These are some definitions that you just have to remember. And conversely, if your input increases by 3 times, and your output only increases by 4 times, then you have increasing return to scale. So does that ring a bell? So these are the materials that cover just prior to the emission period, when we talk about economies of scale. So in our specific example, then let's take a look. From scenario 2 to scenario 1, our input was 6. Now it used to be only 4. So 6 divided by 4, our input, the multiple of our input is 3 over 2 times. What about our output? Well, output is 23 now, 16 equals output. And if you run your calculator, yeah, okay, so you get 1.4375, and this is 1.5. So basically, when your input increased by 1.5 times, your output increased only 1.457 times. So what is that? Going back to these 3, it's either increasing, or constant return to scale. So what is it? Exactly. The answer is decreasing returns to scale. So, or in this case, diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of scale. So now remember those two terms, they're interlinked. So when you're talking about diseconomy scale, we're also talking about decreasing return to scale. So, okay, now let's take a look at another example. I'm not going to do it again because the idea is almost exactly the same, just numbers change. So now scenario 1 is 1 worker, 1 knitting machine, output is 5, and the second scenario is 2 knitting machines, 2 worker, output is 16. So what's the multiple and input this time? Twice, right? And what about output? More than twice. So what is this? Is economies of scale, exactly. I guess yes. That's simple. Oh, this is one. So go back to the question. Basically, which of the following can actually see it? So I change this one because you have to go back between the two and you can get busy. This one's hard. A profit maximizing firm in a perfect competitive market is incurring an economic loss. What must be true? about the level of output. So whenever you run this kind of question, draw a graph. So perfect competition, price equals marginal revenue equals flat. And if it's making economic loss, then it means marginal cost equals C. This is the output you're producing, and you're making a loss equal to the size of the trend. It's our rectangle over here. So, okay. So, what's true? Is price greater than marginal cost? Price equals marginal cost. Right? So, average total cost is greater than marginal cost. Yeah, it's zero. So in this case, we look at the average total cost is at this point, the marginal cost when the output is 10 is lower, therefore it's less. Therefore the right answer is D. Does that make sense? Okay. This one is also a little bit tricky. As your understanding on the long term and long run and short run in the perfect competition. So technology, when technological changes happen, what does that mean to cost? Right. So average cost will fall referring to adopting technology. Therefore, that's correct. So E is definitely not right. So the correct answer for this question is E. So technology change brings permanent gains for consumers and producers. That's not true. Why? Okay. For consumers, it is true because when you introduce technology, new technology, the price decreases. So in the long run, your price goes down. So consumer is great. For producers, however, remember we're talking about long run, okay? Because permanent is long run, right? So in the long run, your price decreases, but then everyone's price decreases, and even though your cost also decreases, you're going back to zero economic profit. So in the long run, you're making zero economic profit. So no change to technology will ever change the fact that you make zero profit in the long run. So E is wrong. Okay, this should be cool. So, short run average and marginal cost curves, which one of the following is right? Is wrong. Average fixed cost, does that decrease with the output? It does, right? Okay. Vertical gap between B and C equal to average variable cost. No. What does it actually equal? Average fixed cost. There we go. So C, you have to understand that C's average total cost, B's average variable cost, and the difference between average total and average variable is average fixed. A little bit cute. Which of the following quotes best illustrate the idea of marginal product? The double workers and double assembly line get 120% of their. Is that right? So the right answer is the most obvious one is B. For the 11th worker, one more paper a day. So for example, what is C then? Max, what is C? Each worker produces 2 papers a day. Oh, you guys know this. Average product, exactly. If I have 10 workers on my assembly line, I can produce 13 tables a day. What is that? So the prompt can change up the question, just the question, but then you get different answers like that. Efficiency. Oh, okay, this one's hard though. A firm that uses the latest technology, blank, technologically efficient because blank. Okay. What do you think is this? Okay. The answer is actually not necessary. The right answer is actually A. So, good job, good job. So you have to keep in mind that latest technology and technologically efficient are completely different things. Technologically efficient depends on the situation we're talking about. So going back to, it's a very good segue into our previous discussion about, so new technology and old technology here. And the new technology, with greater quantity, you get better results. But doesn't always mean that's best, because with smaller quantity, sometimes using the old technology produces better results than the new technology. So it has to do with things like fixed scales and everything such and such. So the right answer is actually A. They're not necessarily related to each other. Subsidy. Do you guys still remember what subsidy is? What is subsidy? Yeah, let's basically like this. What happens when government pays money for firms? So this is the supply curve of the firm is measured. So when the government pays to the firm the same price that they used to be only able to produce 2 units, now they can produce 3. So the entire supply curve shifts to the right. So this is the supply plus subsidy. And so in the past, over here is the equilibrium quantity, here's the equilibrium price. Now because the subsidy, the quantity increases and the price decreases. But we have to remember that the old supply curve, the old one, is still the social cost. Doesn't matter where you're giving the firm company, the social cost is the old one. Therefore, subsidy raises margin social cost. Yeah, so the right answer is D. Because, see, at the new equilibrium with the subsidy, this is the quantity produced, and the social cost is now above social benefit. It's given by the manager. That makes sense? And over here, what's that? That means that's the envelope. Oh, this is actually important. If the price of gasoline rises by 25% and remains fixed at a higher level, choose the correct answer. It's his turn. Okay. So the whole idea has to do with elasticity, short run and long run. So we draw the graph. Here's the demand, and price of gas will rise by 25%. So this is price, and it rises by 25%, so that's the new price. So we know that so initially with the price increase, consumer cannot change their behaviors immediately. But in the long run, though, this new substitutes are coming to the market because now that the price of gasoline rises by a quarter, the technology such as Tesla and the new battery cars, they're going to come into the market, and consumers will become more elastic with their demand for gasoline. So that's the shift. So over time, the demand for the product will become more elastic. That's basically the concept. That's good. Okay, so that's really old stuff. So that goes all the way back to the first chapter that you've ever studied. So we're now at combination G, and we're moving to combination F. What is the opportunity cost of that one more unit of paper? 3 of what? You always remember, 3 of what? You can't just say 3. Okay, 3 forms. So if I ask you, how is the increasing opportunity cost shown in this schedule? How are you going to explain it? Because this is a short answer question. How do you go about explaining this? Increasing opportunity cost. So pick one. Pick one or pick paper. I go with paper. So now we're looking at paper, and basically you calculate from 0 to 1, what's the opportunity cost? 3. From 2 to 3, the opportunity cost becomes 9. And all the way to 5 to 6, the opportunity cost becomes 18. So it shows that as you produce more paper, the opportunity cost in terms of corn foregone increases. So that's how you ask that question to get full marks. Let's try this one. The last practice, the last installment, right? Take out a piece of paper or use a laptop, calculate. So Harvey quit his job where he earned $45,000 a year. To start a new business, he cashed in, $10 million of bonds that are 10% interest annually, buys off a company. So immediately, what is the $45,000 a year? What is that? Exactly. Okay. So he cashed in that number of bonds that are 10% interest rate. What is the 10% interest rate calculated? Opportunity cost. Because now that you just cash in the bond, there's no interest in the future, therefore that becomes opportunity cost. In the first year, 11,000 units is $75 each. What does that become? So that times you get revenue. All the $75 per unit, 55 goes to the cost of production, blah blah blah. So $55 times 11,000 units gives you total cost. So then you get basically 11 times 75 minus 55, so 11,000 times 20, so $220,000 of profit. And then you have to look at the rent, the building rent. So you have to subtract the building rent from the profit, which is $20,000 a year. Lastly, normal profit. You guys remember what normal profit is? So basically, the amount that any entrepreneur is expecting to gain from this venture. Therefore, you also have to subtract the $50,000 a year from the profit that you're getting and arrive at your economic profit. It could be a positive number or a negative number. And once you see this, you also have to subtract away from your opportunity cost in terms of your job that's lost and the 10% interest rate. So after all that is done, if what you get is a positive number, then Harvey played a good decision. If not, then Harvey played a bad decision. Does that make sense? Okay. So for the very last question, this is actually the very last question. Try this. Also one of those ring keeper kind of thing. Business people speak about price elasticity without actually using a term. Which one of the following statement reflects inelastic demand? What is inelastic demand? What does that mean? That's why. Do we increase price? So price cut will help me, it will increase sales, it will just get less money for each unit. That is what? That is inelastic, right? Oh wait, sorry. Price cut won't help me. Yeah, price. So if your price cut, it will just increase sales. So that's wrong because we increase sales in price cuts. So it's not it. Oh! Yeah. Okay, sorry, I messed up. So sales, as in like sales money. So in this case, yes, it's A's, right? So if you do price cut, then the sales will actually go down in terms of the total revenue is going to go down because you're taking less money from each unit. So the answer is A. What is B? Just quickly, what is B? I don't think price cut will make any difference. Immediately, that is unit asset. See, when I drop it just a few cents below my competitors, they flock into the store, sales are booming. So with the recent economic recovery, people have more income to spend, and sales are booming, even at previous prices. What is that? Something completely off what we just discussed. But it's also important. This is the income effect. Remember, when people have more money to spend, they buy more. End of story. So that's it for today's tutorial. Thank you very much for coming. If you have any particular questions you want to ask, you can ask them now. Yeah. What is being He is using it also. He is using it. Oh. Alright. Good luck on your final. You're welcome.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you. You too. See you. Yeah. You already hungry?
Yo, Andrew. By the end, it's like how many hours? Like, put 8 hours into them?
Let's turn it off first.